Hey guys, PrinceofMacedon here, doing a commentary video for Napoleon Total War multiplayer. I command the Swedish army, and my opponent is U.S.R.A, the Defier, in command of the Prussian army. And in any case, you can look at my army. You can just read it, actually. And this is on the Aosta Valley. This is a valley in Italy, and it's a very odd-looking map. And you can see I put my horses towards the valley right here. And that was in response to my opponent's interesting deployment. But yeah, I'm going to put all my horses down that valley on the left. And in this area, this little village here, I was under the impression that we were going to fight for it, but my opponent purposely surrendered that area to me, and instead he's going to occupy this higher ground, where he can maximize his superior amount of howitzers. So that was basically my opponent's strategy for winning this battle. He wanted to fortify the choke points leading to his position, and then he would basically just use his howitzer advantage to pick my army apart from afar. And I knew that's what my opponent's plan was. That's why he avoided the confrontation at the beginning. So anyways, I'm massing my horses right here, and this is kind of like the Charge of the Light Brigade, the movie, where you see all the horses concentrated in that little valley, and they never move. But in this battle, I'm going to make my horses move very early. So, many minutes later, my opponent is putting his plan into motion. He's using his howitzer advantage against me. And I only brought one piece of howitzer myself, because I had no idea what this map was like. But judging from it, you can see that howitzers are extremely dangerous on this map here. So I'm going to put some skirmishers on that little choke point right there. And at this point, I had this very bold idea to take all my horses and just charge. And you might think that this is a dumb idea, and in fact it is a dumb idea. But I have one objective, and that objective is not his skirmishers, it's not his infantry, it's not his cav. I'm basically going to suicide all my horses in the hopes that I can take out his howitzers in the process. And honestly, during this battle, I'm pretty sure my opponent had no idea what I was trying to do here. He probably thought I was some noob just making really stupid moves online, and honestly, it does look pretty stupid. But during the battle, I had this mindset that I could get away with sacrificing all my horses in order to take out his howitzers. But during the battle, you're going to see that something bad kind of happens. You can see that my guys, they get stuck right here, like in that big infantry square. And I tried my best to get him out of that, but they just got stuck right there. So here I am losing all these horses, and my guys are doing nothing right now except dying. So my objective, as crazy as it sounded, isn't even getting done right now. I'm not even touching his howitzers. But since my guys were already there, I was determined to maintain the pressure. But also during this time, I started moving my infantry out. You can see that on the mini map. That I'm trying to get my guys out of this choke point, and trying to capitalize on my opponent's momentarily loss of concentration here. You can see from the amount of attention my horses are getting that my opponent was squarely focused on my horses, who were actually starting to penetrate his square right there. And I think at this point my opponent realized what I was trying to do. He realized I was trying to take out his howitzers. And on this account you can see I'm actually starting to trickle in, and you can see that my horses are actually starting to touch his crewmen operating the howitzers. So look at his horses and all of his infantry trying to chase down my Swedish cav. And you can see one of his guys are actually routing right now. So I managed to rout one of his howitzers. So I was 50% of the way of my objective. But my guys are still getting chopped down by his troops, who are protecting his guns. And my opponent definitely sees what's going on and what I'm trying to do with my horse charge. So he's going to take his last remaining group of howitzer crewmen, and he's going to get them away from the danger zone. So there's my horses, they rout from the battlefield, and here are his last group of artillerymen. And he actually managed to keep them alive. So my horse charge was very glorious, but it only succeeded half of the way. So on that account, I failed in my horse charge, because sacrificing all my horses to take out only one of his howitzers wasn't my objective. So here's the infantry that I managed to take out at the choke point. But now that my opponent cleared out my horses, I'm pretty much screwed right now. So he's going to charge into that little choke point, and he's going to put a clog in my flow of troops going in and out of that choke point. So yeah, I lost all my horses, and now my infantry is getting chopped down, so I'm not looking too good at this moment. But yeah, the idea behind the charge was it's very sound. I mean, if I managed to destroy his howitzers then, that means I could have just camped and blocked all the choke points and destroyed my opponent with my howitzer. So with that in mind, we're going to proceed and see how the battle unfolds. There's my howitzer, and of course we're now both even on howitzers. But unfortunately I lost all my horses, as you saw, and furthermore, I even lost more infantry as I tried to capitalize on my opponent's momentary loss of concentration towards the beginning. So here we are fighting at this choke point. I'm trying to save as many men as possible, but you can see that my opponent is pretty much just hacking my guys down. And I have another team of line infantry right there, and they're trying to fight their way back over to my side of the lines, because we don't want to be on this side right now. And have some more guys coming out, but a few minutes later you can see that my guys are getting chopped down again. And that was one of my elite units that got routed there. So I probably lost like 2 or 3 infantry units, plus all my cav. And my opponent has that choke point surrounded right now. So at this point, you would probably think that I would play it safely, especially after I lost all those units in that little failed attack. But instead, I'm going to take my general unit, and I'm going to launch even more attacks on my opponent. And this time I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go through the little village area, and I'm going to march this way because now my opponent has his howitzers undefended. And this happened because my opponent was so focused on fending off my horse attacks that he pushed all of his units forward. And my opponent has pretty good eyes because he sees my general unit going around the other way, so he's going to race his infantry back. But there's no way he can stop what's happening. I've got my general unit, and I'm going to smack into those howitzers right there. This is something that should have been done at the beginning. And so I'm going to perhaps sacrifice my general in order to destroy the last of his artillery. And if my general succeeds, that means I can turn the tactics that my opponent meant to use against me against him. Yeah, because if I kill these guys, that means I can pretty much just sit back and then let my artillery do all the talking. So you can see from the close-up that I lose my general, as usual, but he loses his artillery, so it kind of worked out. So what started off looking like a noobish horse charge ended up becoming a very decisive factor in this battle. And yeah, I wasn't very pleased on how it turned out, the first charge, but I think in the end it turned out for the better. Because by attacking, that ended up creating more chances for me to come back. Anyways, this is the village, and this is the village that we were supposed to fight for at the beginning, but my opponent chose to surrender it to me. Anyway, at this point in the battle, my opponent had the idea to attack me directly this time, instead of sitting back like that, but I've got this choke point well sighted with all my troops here. So as his units cross into the choke point, that means they are coming under a very heavy crossfire. So it doesn't matter how good his units are, that means my guys have all these muskets bearing down on one unit. So that's his first unit that came in. Those were one of his foot guards, and we're able to turn back that first invasion. And I believe he's going to get 1 or 2 more units into this little musket exchange. But they're going to exchange fire from further away from that little choke point right there. So yeah, he has 2 units trading fire with me. But during this little skirmish, that's when I got my howitzer firing again. Because during this time, I was actually trying to move my howitzer up, but when I saw his guys attacking, that's when I set him back up. Here they are, they're setting up, and a minute later, I had my howitzer firing again. So that's going to turn back his attack. And really, my opponent doesn't really have much of a choice, because if he retreats this time, that means he has no more howitzers, and I can just sit back and use my howitzer to destroy his army. So my opponent's initial game plan is now my game plan. So those guys are going to run out of there, and I'm going to do a lot of time elapses very soon. But basically what my opponent is going to do, he's going to take his troops and he's going to turn around and he's going to climb that hill behind his troops and wait there for me. He's going to wait there for me to attack him. And as he retreats, I still have my howitzer firing at his guys. I want to inflict as much damage as possible before his guys ascend that hill. So let me show you the hill. It's that big thing that he's climbing. and a few minutes later I'm still firing at him with my howitzers. And honestly, I could have won the battle just by sitting back and letting my howitzer do all of the attacking, but instead I had the idea to launch my infantry at his hill advantage here. And I wanted to bring this thing to a close and make it more exciting, but my opponent decides to retreat even more. So I actually offered my opponent the chance to fight a pitch battle and not lose to my artillery, but because he's still running, I decided to stop with this foolishness. I decided to withdraw my guys behind the choke point, and now my opponent has to deal directly with my howitzers. And this is the kind of battle that my opponent has no chance of winning. And you can see I have the choke point well fortified, so there's no way he can even touch my howitzers. And my opponent doesn't want to deal with this anymore, so he decides to surrender. And right there are the results. I'll let you guys read that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this battle on the Aosta Valley.